Hello there everyone. In today's video we're going to take a look at the new proposals from the government to tax non-doms, which were announced by the Chancellor in the budget just a few weeks ago. So basically non-doms have had this tax favourable status in the UK now for several centuries. Now the government has deemed it to be very antiquated and want to get everything on a more modern footing. So what exactly are they going to do? How will the non-dom regime change? Well, there's quite a few different proposals, so probably too much to go through in one single video. So in this one today, what I thought I'd do an overview of is the so-called 4-year rule for foreign income and gains. So it's called the Foreign Income and Gains Regime. Okay, so let's just dive straight in, have a look. Comes in from next year, a year from now. So where are we? We're in April 24. Comes in 6th of April 2025. So the start of the 25-26 tax year. That's when this new rule comes in. It's the Foreign Income and Gains Regime. Now, this applies to individuals regardless of domicile. So yes, the broader suite of changes are all aimed at non-doms, but actually this first one applies regardless of your domicile. So it could even apply to someone with a UK domicile who has nevertheless been an expat for many years. So what do I mean? Well, let's have a look at the rest. Applies in the first 4 years of residency. So, but you have to have been a non-resident for more than 10 years. So after 10 years of non-residency in the UK. So basically what that means is you come to you've been outside the UK for 10 years. You might have never been in the UK, you might never been a resident, or you might be a long-term expat living somewhere else for many, many years, more than 10 years, and then you come to the UK. So this regime, which you have to claim this, won't be taxed in the UK on foreign income and gains, even if remitted to the UK. So what does that mean? That means for this 4-year window, if you've got stuff going on abroad from presumably where you've been before you came to the UK, so for these arrivals into the UK, they've got stuff going on abroad that yields an income, and maybe they've sold stuff that's, they've got capital gains in that 4-year window. There's no UK income tax or capital gains tax on those activities for the first 4 years, even if they move all the proceeds back to the UK. So that's the first thing, which is a pretty generous thing to do. This 4-year. So look, come to the UK, you've got 4 years, all this income and gains, no tax. If, let's say, you're a compare and contrast, you're a UK resident, you haven't been away for 10 years, sunning it in Dubai or wherever, but you've always been here, you've got to pay tax on your worldwide income and gains regardless. But special rule here for new arrivals into the UK the first 4 years. Now, what if individuals have arrived in the UK before the date that these new rules come in? So these new rules come in April 25. What if you've been here already, but you haven't been here that long? All right, so you can still benefit from the new regime if within the first 4 years of residency in 25 and 26. So when the new rules come in next year, as long as you've only been in Britain less than 4 years from next year, then you can get advantage of this. The first 4, it's not the first 4 years from 25 25-26, unless you arrive in 25-26. But from when you arrive, so let's say you've got someone who has been a long-term expat. They've come back in 2023. So when the new rules kick in, they've already been here. They've been back 2 years. But the new rules are all about the first 4 years. But actually, they've got another 2 years left of that 4-year window to claim all this valuable reliefs of not being taxed on their overseas stuff. You know, they may not have any overseas stuff if they've repatriated all their lives, but chances are they may still have some stuff going on abroad where they've lived for so long. I don't know. But the point is that that 4-year window starts from, it's when you arrive back in the UK, and it can apply to people who are back in the UK at the point the new rules kick in. If, for example, you had come back to the UK or into the UK for the first time in 2020, then by the time the new rules kick in next year, you'll have already been here 4 years, so these new rules won't apply to you. Okay, so it's all about the timing of when you come back to the UK. If you're a recent arrival into the UK, then you're going to still be within the 4-year window when the new rules start next year. If you've been back 3 years already, you ain't going to be able to benefit from this because the 4 years will have expired when it comes in next year. Right. But fundamentally, that's the tax break, that no UK income tax and capital gains on the overseas income and gains, the yields thereon, even if proceeds repatriated to the UK. Okay, what's next? Temporary repatriation facility. Okay, so this is something slightly different. So this is for long-term non-DOMs. So now we've talked about this first thing, the foreign income and gains regime, which can apply to someone of a domicile from anywhere, can apply to non-DOMs, new arrivals, or returning expats. The second bit of the new rules is aimed at long-term non-DOMs. So this is individuals who've been in the UK. Let's say they've been here a while. So they are non-DOMs in terms of their lineage. Their heritage is offshore somewhere, but they've been in the UK for quite a while. So all this stuff won't apply because they've been here a lot longer than the 4 years, but nevertheless they are non-DOMs. And the current rules for non-DOMs say basically that you don't get taxed on your overseas income and gains as long as you don't bring it into the UK, as long as you don't remit it into the UK. So, and people would claim what's called the remittance basis on their tax returns to say, yes, we haven't remitted anything in, so you're not gonna pay any UK tax on the stuff that goes on overseas. Now, the new temporary repatriation facility, because they're basically curbing this rule, the fact that non-DOMs don't have to pay UK tax on their worldwide stuff that's going on, they've said, look, between April 2025 and April 2027, that's 2 years, this is for the long-term non-DOMs, you can remit all that stuff that previously you've dared not to because we're going to get clobbered for tax. So that now the UK authorities are saying you can bring it in if you're a long-term non-DOM in the UK, bring it in that 2-year window. Yes, we're going to hit you for tax, but not at 45%, 12%. 12%. So the aim is to, is a bit of a sweetener to changing the non-DOMs rules. So that, for many years, everyone's been happy with the rules, comfortable with the fact you leave everything offshore, can avoid paying 45%. Going forward, you're going to be taxed on the lot. As an interim measure, saying, well, that's a bit harsh to go at a cliff edge to all of a sudden go from 0 to 45. UK government has said, look, for those 2 years between 2025 and 2027, all the stuff that you've got going on, bring it in, bring it over to the UK, and we'll only only tax you at 12%, not 45%. So that's called the temporary repatriation facility for those non-doms who have been here a while, who won't be able to benefit from this 4-year rule because they've been here for quite a few years longer than that. So this is just some of the suggestions. I haven't even got onto inheritance tax yet, which is obviously a big perk of being a non-dom. We'll do a separate video on that. But certainly for income and gains, these are the new rules that are coming in. Now, I say they're coming in. A lot can change before they are meant to come in April 2025. New government, possibly. If Labour get in, they've already said, Rachel Reeves, the shadow chancellor, has already said, we think that this non-dom closing the loopholes, whatever you want to call it, is that government haven't gone far enough. Which means that if Labour get in, they won't make this stuff as attractive as it is on this transitional period. I guess what they're saying is if they got in, they may say, hang on a minute, 12%, I think we'll charge a bit more than 12%, thank you very much. I don't know, who knows? These are the Tory rules as they stand to come in next year, but the Tories may not even be in next year, and Labour could reverse the whole thing, or certainly water it down, call it what you will, not make it as generous. I think that could be the first thing under attack if Labour got in. They may say, you know, because basically in theory the Labour government support the broad brush approach of taxing non-doms, not letting them have this tax favourable status that they've always had. It's just how quickly you get to the sort of the status quo that they're taxed like everybody else. And I think that's one of the things Labour would certainly up from 12%, who knows, and they maybe even tinker with this 4-year thing as well, who knows. But as it stands, in terms of the proposals from the current government, this is what we're looking at. But as I said, this doesn't even kick in until another year, and a lot can change in a year. A week is a long time in politics, never mind a year. So anyway, just an overview there on some of the new rules aimed at the non-doms and the new entrance into the UK coming in on this first 4-year rule. If you like this video, please do subscribe, and as always, I'll see you soon.